When people hear your name, they associate you with the Germantown, and this guy was throwing bombs at a gas station on West Queen Lane. What would you like them to know, since this is the first time you're really telling your story publicly?
Well, I know that my my neighbor, who I believe is schizophrenic, made up the business about the gas station. He thought I was a Russian spy, and he actually called my friend Sarah while I was in prison, crying, and he apologized for having, ruined my life and sent me to prison. I think it was he who suggested to the news and to Detective Brooks that something, could have happened at the gas station. And in absolutely every story I've read and every interview, somebody clearly primed people to think about the gas station. I remember waking up in the hospital and not only my leg was chained to the bed. So the nurse came in and said, I see you were trying to blow up the gas station. And I said, what gas station? She said, the one on the corner there near where you lived. And I said, the gas station? I said, I was all the way over on I was in my kitchen. I was out my kitchen door. And I said, the gas station. I felt like I was falling off the earth. She said, well, it's in all the newspapers. And I was thinking, my God, it's just, that's what they're telling people, I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't believe it. But that's what the whole thing came down to, this absurd kind of Hollywood trope. You think about a gas station blowing up, and of course we can all remember Robert Redford movies where, someone just kicks a pump and the thing blows up. Not that the tanks are, 20 feet below solid concrete. They're built, I guess, so that I've done some research since I got out. They're built so a 16-wheel truck can plow through those pumps and nothing will happen. Well, my career's been pretty good. Before going to prison, I never had a painting around more than 24 hours, really, before it sold. I've been very fortunate in my career. I lived down in Palm Beach for 13 years, and I had a patron down there, Robert Montgomery. Was a very wealthy lawyer, and Lois Pope, whose husband used to own the National Enquirer, and a couple of other really, really great clients down there. And, since I've been in prison and come back out there, most of them are dead, and that's been really sad and hard to deal with. And the gallery that I had down in North Carolina, that was my most recent gallery. They just dumped me like a hot potato as soon as I got arrested. And it's been very difficult getting back in a gallery. Been very difficult making new friends. A lot of my, who I thought were family, just have blocked me socially and in a way that I didn't know was possible, and just will not talk with me. The first 3 months in jail over here at Philadelphia CFCF, forced myself, once I got some paper and pencil, I would force myself to write every day. I learned how to write. It looked like a kindergartner's writing at first, but I think my painting may even be better than it was in a weird way. There's something I never noticed before, was that when I painted with my right hand, there was always a bit of a lag, I'd think before I never noticed because I'd been doing it all my life. But with my left hand, it's just straight to the canvas, it's just eye to canvas. There's no delay. There's a self-portrait I did in prison up there, if you want to get a picture of that. So that was a couple years later, but yeah, these are some, the one with the airplane and the little skeleton, those are some prison paintings. And the one up on the upper right is one I did right before I blew my hand off. It was painful and it was slow, and I was terrified that I'd never draw or write again.
What would you like to say to people who, and you mentioned this earlier, oh, he's a firebug, oh, look at what happened in Phoenixville, look at what happened in Germantown.
Yeah, right. Well, I didn't start a fire in either place, and I was making fireworks, and for which there are no charges in Philadelphia because it's legal here. And you can buy a box of dynamite at the hardware store, which would be thousands of times more explosive than the 3 firecrackers I still had at home. I admit that in Chester County, I was drunk, and I was suffering from PTSD, having been in a fire that I did not start, incidentally. I was in an apartment building, and I talked to the fire marshal. I knew it started in the wall because I tried to put it out. You can't put out a fire in the wall. The fire marshal told me it was an electrical fire. I was in an induced coma for 6 weeks. I died, and I lost about a third of my lungs. And why am I smoking? I don't smoke very much. I have the occasional cigar. So I also want to let people know that I was not singled out. I heard my story so many times in prison. Just the same crazy story, the same crazy trials, going to prison, not because they did what they were charged with, but, the judges would tell them, I know you did something. And, it's just not going to prison for something is not in the Constitution. And what I did not break any crime that I've been able to find, and I've done an enormous amount of research. Certainly I didn't have weapons of mass destruction. Our prisons are vicious and vile and horrible places. I saw 2 guys die over here at CFCF. I didn't see the guy 10 feet from my door. His throat was slit. Just the last 5 to 7 years, 1 out of every 35 Americans, adult Americans, have been incarcerated. It's an enormous number. So you probably know someone who's been in jail or prison, and you probably don't believe their story. But how many people are you not going to believe until, we finally realize how bad it is? Having written publicly about it, I've had people from England write me saying, how can I volunteer to help? Because it's news over there how terrible our prisons are, and the whole thing about how they're incarcerating innocent people. So it's a trend. And the only reason you might not believe me is because you don't believe in the trend, which is absolutely real.
You've lost fingers, and you've dealt with that different life. Like, what is that like, and how do you adapt to it?
Well, what it's like in combination with being in prison, people are extremely unsympathetic. I've even heard, it's your own fault. Say, oh, hey, I feel better now. Yeah, it was my fault, sort of. I mean, it was a fast fuse, but yeah, okay, it was my fault. I'm still missing half a hand. And it's been difficult because people are generally unsympathetic, even family. My oldest friends have disappeared. And folding clothes, takes me 15 minutes to button a shirt, which was torture in jail, because you have to get dressed when you go down to the court, and the COs are just correctional officers. We're not going to help you. I mean, my reputation's been destroyed. I don't have a gallery. It's hard to get one. People are afraid of me. Even you said you were kind of afraid to come over. Those news stories had a big impact. Even if people don't believe the story, they believe the emotional response that they had to the story. And that's what they remembered. They remember going, oh my God, and they believe whatever it is that they told themselves in that minute. But it's a trend in this country to take people who are basically down. I was down. And I think the cop who arrested me was a sadist. He saw me bleeding and crying and screaming. I was in so much pain, and I never got painkillers in prison. The painkillers I was supposed to get.
You're still on parole or probation now?
Yes, and I will be until I'm 67. I'm 59 now. They gave me a 12-year sentence. I'm off of state parole, but then they put you on special probation, where, if I do anything between now and the time I'm 67, and even then, So it's been difficult, and I need help. I need help folding clothes, just dumb stuff like that, even though I'm facile at painting, and I need to make a living.
Are you a danger to the community?
No. I never have been. I can't kill the mice who live behind my stove. I really can't. It's a problem. And I hope that you, and I hope anybody who believes me, will stand behind me, because our justice system is insanely corrupt. I don't know if that's particularly Philadelphia, but here, and if you're a Philadelphian, you don't want to go to court here. It is a rigged affair, completely.